So what's going to happen is that the prosecution will submit a sentencing memorandum. The defense will do the same. And the prosecution will argue that there are aggravating circumstances here. The prosecution, I think, will argue that there is evidence that and facts that the jury heard, which are related to the crimes that he was convicted of, that indicate that there should be prison time in this case.
Talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible things.
And that was to destroy East Coast rap. And what I mean by that, and I know people gonna be like, yo, Gene is out of his mind and everything like that. Check this out, brother.
Chaos unfolded around him. For decades, he moved like a ghost, untouchable, unreadable. But now, that ghost might be getting dragged into the light. And it ain't just talk anymore. These claims are slamming headfirst into the courtroom chaos. Federal prosecutors already sent shockwaves when they revealed that a major witness, identified in the indictment as Victim 3, has vanished. Not hiding, not silent, gone. No calls, no texts, no lawyer chatter, just disappeared like smoke. Court records reveal she wasn't just another witness. She had explosive testimony locked and loaded. We're talking decades of twisted manipulation, underground parties, and hidden cameras, allegedly all set up by Diddy himself. But now, that bombshell might never go off. And behind the curtains, everyone's asking the same chilling question no one wants to say out loud. Did someone make her vanish? It's not just internet buzz either. Legal experts are comparing this whole mess to a Ghislaine Maxwell-style setup, but trade the British accent for luxury whips, designer threads, and diamond-studded Grammys. Some ex-staff are even calling out Diddy's longtime right hand, his chief of staff, comparing her directly to Maxwell. They claim she was the one pulling strings in the background, lining up the girls, running wild parties soaked in illegal substances, and handling NDAs like a mob boss counting hush cash. She allegedly kept the whole machine running, smooth and silent. And it gets darker. Court filings talk about so-called freak-offs, forced encounters caught on camera while Diddy allegedly sat back and recorded everything. Victims say he didn't just threaten people, he held those tapes over them like a sword, ready to ruin lives if anyone spoke out. And then there's that wild detail. A federal agent reportedly said they found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil during the raid on Diddy's estate. Not a typo, 1,000. That's not just shady. That screams organized, systematic, and cold-blooded. But the pressure's still building, because Gene Deal ain't the only one breaking under all this history. More voices are starting to shake loose, and what they're saying is nothing short of terrifying. Enter Suge Knight, locked up, empire gone, and zero reasons to stay quiet. From inside his prison cell, Suge is throwing gasoline on the fire, backing up one of the wildest theories in hip-hop history, that Diddy put a price on Tupac Shakur's head. We're talking millions, just to make Pac disappear for good. Now, recently unsealed court documents tied to the Shakur case are turning heads. Diddy's name shows up over 40 times in a secret police interview with Keefe D, the last living suspect from Tupac's 1996 drive-by shooting. And what Keefe told investigators? Chilling. He claimed Diddy didn't just suggest violence, he demanded it. According to Keefe, Diddy said something like, "I'll give anything for that dude's head." Who was he talking about? Suge? Tupac? Maybe both. And here's where it gets even crazier. Keefe says that bounty wasn't some low-key backroom whisper. Nah, it was said out loud, in front of a whole crowd. This wasn't hush-hush, it was bold. Just days after that alleged offer, Tupac was hit up on the Vegas Strip, shot multiple times, and died in the hospital shortly after. Diddy's always denied any connection, brushing it off as complete fiction. But now, prosecutors are stacking receipts, transcripts, taped interviews, first-hand witnesses. It's no longer just rumors. And former LAPD investigators are speaking out too. One of them says Keefe D's confession should have cracked the case wide open years ago, but fame and silence sealed it shut. Now that silence is breaking, and the truth's leaking fast. If even part of this turns out to be real, it means Diddy didn't just build a music empire. He may have bent the law, swayed cops, and controlled who spoke and who stayed quiet. This goes beyond music. It's power, manipulation, and a dark legacy that might finally be catching up to him. Gene Deal isn't just pointing fingers, he's dropping bombs. He's claiming that Diddy's been playing both sides for years, acting as an FBI informant while shielding his empire from crumbling, feeding the feds just enough info to keep them off his back, all while keeping the real dirt buried. And now, all those rumors about missing witnesses, lost files, and silenced victims, they're starting to look less like conspiracy theories and more like a cold, calculated game plan. Gene says the heat's already hit him personally. He's gone public saying he's been threatened, and one source close to him claims he was recently attacked in a way that didn't feel random at all. This wasn't some street mugging. It looked like a message. But here's the twist. Gene ain't running. If anything, it's lit a fire under him. He's louder now, bolder than ever, ready to expose everything no matter who gets scorched. He's naming names, burning bridges, and daring anyone to stop him. Meanwhile, the fear is spreading. Insiders say more former employees are thinking about coming forward, but they're scared stiff. Nobody wants to be the next Victim 3. And speaking of her, Victim 3 was supposed to be the prosecution's secret weapon, the one ready to blow this whole thing wide open. She allegedly told authorities she wanted to testify using her real name. No masks, no secrecy. She was ready to face Diddy in court. Then suddenly, silence. She's not in New York anymore. No contact, no sightings. Even her lawyer won't pick up the phone. And now the feds are panicking. They might have to continue without her. Think about that. A woman allegedly prepared to expose years of abuse, connect Diddy directly to federal crimes, and tear down the empire, vanished before she could speak a single word in court. Not everyone's convinced this is just about one missing witness. Because if what Gene Deal's saying lines up with Suge Knight's claims and Keith D's confession, then this whole thing cuts way deeper. We're talking about a man who may have built a billion-dollar empire while pulling strings in the shadows, causing chaos that nobody dared to speak on. Diddy? He's denying everything. His legal team's doing overtime, calling the so-called freak-offs nothing more than private moments between consenting adults and brushing off those mansion tapes like they're irrelevant leftovers. But the feds? They ain't buying it. Prosecutors say what's on those tapes, along with the testimonies and stacks of NDA files, is the kind of stuff that puts people away for life. They're not just hinting. They're coming with charges built on cold, hard evidence. And Victim 3? She's just one twist in this mess. Federal agents claim Diddy was using jailhouse phones to secretly reach out to his people on the outside, allegedly directing witnesses and managing the narrative through three-way calls, secret codes, and off-the-record access. This wasn't panic. This was organized. Prosecutors now believe they're not dealing with just a scandal-ridden celebrity. They're staring at the possible mastermind behind a long-running criminal machine. They've already started calling it R. Kelly meets Epstein meets Hollywood's darkest secrets. And the wildest part? They're still holding back. The most damaging evidence, the stuff that ties human trafficking to old-school LA gangland hits, could still be hiding in hard drives, phone taps, and witness statements the court hasn't even seen yet. Meanwhile, Suge Knight, word is, he's ready to testify. Sources close to him say he's got info that could crush Diddy's image forever. And Keith D? On tape, when asked if Diddy was scared of Tupac back then, his answer was fast and cold. He didn't throw out an exact number, but he made it crystal clear. He wanted that man's head. And after Tupac was gone, Keith says when Diddy ran into their crew, he couldn't even look them in the eye. He wasn't even watching the girls, just locked in on that car like his life depended on it. According to witnesses, he looked shook, like really shook. Dude was scared, one of them said. And if that's true, then the real question becomes, what else is he scared of coming out? Because 3 former employees who used to work inside Diddy's estates in both Miami and LA say there's something way bigger hiding in the shadows, something way darker than anything we've seen in court so far. They're calling it the vault, not a myth, not a rumor, a real, locked-down, password-protected digital archive, We're talking decades worth of files, videos, encrypted folders, and digital tapes. But don't picture grainy home videos or basic party clips. No, this is allegedly the holy grail of dirt. Stuff collected at those infamous freak-offs where, sources claim, phones were snatched at the door, NDAs were handed out like candy, and every guest left with a piece of themselves trapped on camera. What's actually in the vault? That's the million-dollar mystery prosecutors are racing to solve. According to whispers from ex-Bad Boy insiders, the archive reportedly holds everything from A-list guests caught doing illegal things to compromising footage of music moguls, pro athletes, and even powerful people tied to government. Not just the guests, allegedly victims too. Some described as too out of it to consent, some far too young to even be in the room, and some, like victim 3, who was reportedly ready to testify, until someone might have reminded her what the vault could unleash. One former producer says when he toured Diddy's LA mansion back in 2017, he saw a server room tucked behind a hidden panel in the studio hallway, guarded by tech guys who, in his words, didn't look like they worked in music at all. It didn't feel like entertainment. It felt like surveillance. If even a fraction of that is real, this goes way beyond blackmail. It's not just one man's collapse, it's an entire control system built on manipulation, secrets, and fear. That vault? It's not just a stash of tapes, it's an insurance policy for a kingpin who played dirty to stay on top. If that vault ever sees the light of day, Diddy won't be the only one falling. There are A-list careers hanging on by a thread. And that brings us straight to Cassie. She was never supposed to speak out, not with a reported $5 million NDA locking her silence, not after the emotional damage she's said to have suffered, and definitely not with Diddy's high-powered legal shark circling. But still, she broke her silence. And when she did, everything changed. Cassie's story isn't just about personal trauma, it's about the whole system. The manipulation, the power games, the grooming. She exposed how some of the biggest names used intimacy like currency, traded favors like poker chips, and silenced victims with fear, cash, and isolation. Her case? It blew the door wide open. She named names, gave dates, turned over receipts. And even though her lawsuit ended in a settlement, that one move triggered a chain reaction. Federal raids, search warrants, and whispers about the existence of the vault. Cassie's voice lit the match. And now, as prosecutors prepare to bring other victims to the stand, insiders say she might have started the flood. But don't think the danger's past. Sources close to her claim things are still getting weird. Some friends say they've had to change phone numbers. One even reported her email was hacked. And though Diddy's team denies any involvement, the timing's too perfect for comfort. But Cassie isn't alone in standing tall. Gene Deal? Still speaking loud and clear. Suge Knight? Locked up, but still moving pieces, feeding info to anyone ready to listen. And what they're revealing now? This isn't just about Diddy. It's about the entire culture he helped build. A culture of silence. A game where fame was weaponized. A machine that promised young artists the world, then left them broken in its wake. What started as whispers is now a storm, and it's shaking the foundation of an entire industry. According to Gene Deal, Diddy wasn't just part of the game. He was the blueprint, the model everyone else followed. And now, federal agents are combing through piles of evidence scooped up during those explosive March raids. What did they find? Firearms, stacks of cash, NDA contracts, and most chilling of all, external drives. One top investigator reportedly told an insider those drives held video folders labeled by date and initials. That's not just evidence, that's a catalog, a digitized, time-stamped roadmap of Diddy's empire, and possibly the key to tearing it all down. So now the big question is, who else is about to get dragged in? Because according to multiple reports, Diddy's inner circle wasn't just filled with assistants and bodyguards. It allegedly included A-list celebs, record label bosses, and even political donors. If those tapes exist, and if even half the whispers are true, we're looking at a domino collapse that could shake up fashion, sports, music, and media all at once. And the FBI? They've already hinted that this investigation stretches across multiple states and multiple industries. This isn't just a human trafficking case anymore. It's turning into a full-blown cultural reckoning, decades overdue. Picture this. A man who once strutted through music videos in fur coats and diamond chains, now gripping a courtroom water bottle, sweating bullets as jury selection wraps up around him. Diddy's pled not guilty, and with all his wealth, you better believe he's got a defense team built like a fortress. But if that vault is real, and more victims step up, there might not be a lawyer on earth who can save him. For years, people on the inside whispered things prosecutors wouldn't confirm out loud. That Diddy's so-called untouchable status wasn't just about charm, fame, or fortune. It might have come from something way deeper. Protection from within the system itself. Several retired agents and 2 former insiders are now claiming that Diddy wasn't just playing the game. He might have been feeding the feds since the early 2000s. According to these sources, he allegedly acted as a confidential informant for the FBI, trading inside info on other artists, street crews, and even underground substance rings tied to the hip-hop world. In exchange, he got the one thing no one else could seem to buy: protection. The theory goes like this. Diddy stayed out of handcuffs, and the feds got names, access, and leverage to clean up the industry their way. It was a deal. Quiet, profitable, and powerful. And it just might explain why Diddy slid through scandal after scandal while everyone else around him crumbled. Think about it. Videos of violent outbursts, stacks of lawsuits from ex-staff and business partners, shady rumors that never stopped swirling. But still, nothing stuck. Diddy moved like he was untouchable. And behind the scenes, that's exactly what execs reportedly called him. But now, with Homeland Security, federal prosecutors, and a wave of public scrutiny closing in, people are asking the one question that flips everything. Did the same machine that protected Diddy finally decide he wasn't worth it anymore? If he really was cooperating, then what changed? Some legal insiders think he just stopped being useful, that maybe he ran out of names to give. Others say it's deeper, that his alleged crimes finally crossed a line so dark not even his past cooperation could save him. Because once your secrets start involving organized abuse, trafficking, and possibly federal cover-ups, even the system that built you starts to sweat. One source, familiar with high-level organized crime investigations, put it bluntly. Once an informant crosses certain moral lines, and especially when the public starts demanding answers, there's no more shielding. The damage is too big. The cover-up can't hold. What makes this final twist so chilling is what it says about the system itself. If Diddy really had that kind of backdoor protection from federal agencies, it might have done more than just shield him. It could have enabled the damage. If that deal delayed investigations or made local law enforcement back off, then we're not just talking about one man's crimes. We're talking about a systemic failure that let it all unfold in silence. Survivors who tried to speak out over the years, they weren't just up against Diddy's legal pit bulls. They might have been hitting a brick wall built by institutions that were supposed to defend them. And now that the mask is slipping, we might not just be witnessing a celebrity downfall, we could be watching a powerful network get exposed brick by brick. Here's the scariest part. If Diddy really was passing information to federal agencies for years, there's gotta be a paper trail. And if that trail ever leaks, whether through court discovery or someone brave enough to break the silence, we'll finally see just how deep this thing goes. Who was being watched, who got protected, who let it slide, because this ain't just a Diddy problem. It might be a reflection of something way more rotten, a culture of power, protection, and silence wrapped in fame and fortune. If the voices of Gene Deal, Suge Knight, Cassie, and the victims are just the beginning, then hip-hop's so-called golden era might have been built on secrets no one wanted to face. And that next leak, that next witness, that next raid, it could be the final blow that brings the whole empire crashing to the ground. So what do you think? Is Diddy just another face in a much bigger game, or has he been pulling the strings behind a hidden empire all along? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the real story. Stay sharp, stay questioning, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.